Now you guys probably can. I apologize for that technical difficulties at the beginning of today's show. How's everyone doing today? I'm Logan. Here's the log show as I get us ready to go live on radio. How is everybody doing today? My name is Logan Leitgeb. You are listening to WSJU Radio, and this is the log show. And my God, we had a great week 6 in the NFL. Yes, it was very entertaining, but we have a lot more than just that to talk about today. This weekend in sports is another big one coming up, and I cannot wait. I am super, super, super excited for this weekend and what is happening. We have a loaded weekend. We have tomorrow night, the Jacksonville Jaguars will travel to my favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. They will travel down to the Superdome, and Jacksonville will try to get a win coming off of a bye week in New Orleans. Hopefully they could get right after Trevor Lawrence, or not coming off a bye week. Trevor Lawrence suffered that knee injury last week. But hopefully he'll be right. Maybe you give him rest on the short week. I don't know. We'll get into that later. We'll talk about the Jets, the Giants, both on opposite ends of the spectrum right now across the NFL. One of them, you're questioning literally every little thing that they do in and out, up and down, left and right. What are the New York Giants doing? Everyone is questioning it. While on the other side, you have Robert Saleh and the New York Jets looking like he could be a coach of the year candidate. They could really, really, really get running this year and maybe squeeze into the playoffs. And if any of you are Pat McAfee fans, maybe Aaron comes back. Maybe he comes back for the playoffs. That would be huge for them. Just staying on the NFL rundown note, a lot of injuries across the league, a lot of like that. But I do want to start with what is happening on Saturday night. Yes, on Saturday, will we have college football all day. And I love it. We'll all enjoy college football all day Saturday. I know I will. But Saturday is not what I'm waiting for. It's Saturday night. Because Saturday night we have the new and improved UFC 294. Now, I was sadly not able to do the show last week to talk to you guys about that when those changes happen. But to run it down for you, those of you who don't follow the UFC daily, like someone like me who's a huge fighting fan, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, so almost a month out from the fight, Paulo Costa got surgery on his elbow before his fight against Khamzat Chimaev. And a lot of people were like, is Paulo Costa going to be able to fight? Yada, yada, this and that. Paulo Costa claimed at that moment that he would be able to fight. He said, I'll be there. I will be able to fight. I am going to fight. So they let him do that. Paulo Costa went on and he fought. Wow. I don't know what just came out of my mouth. Scratch what I just said. I don't know why I said that. So we went on with that thinking Paulo Costa was going to fight. And then about 2 weeks ago, we get news that Charles Oliveira suffered a bad injury in training. Suffers a cut, a very deep cut down to the bone, right here on the eyebrow. Like I said, down to the bone, you could see skull. Very, very, very gnarly cut there for Mr. Charlie Olives. And I hope a speedy recovery for both of them out of their surgeries and out of everything like that. I do. I hope a very speedy recovery for the both of them. But they couldn't fight. Sadly, they could not fight. It happened. It happens. It happens. It happens. But they couldn't fight due to their health. So the UFC was really stuck in a spot here. What was the UFC and Dana White going to do? You just 2 weeks out had your co-main and your main event in shambles. And Dana White had two of the best fighters in the world stand up, and I cannot be more excited for this. So this weekend at UFC 294, Our new main event will be a rematch from one of the best fights from this year alone. 100% one of the best fights from this year. Back in January, Alexander Volkanovski agrees to fight Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship on 11 days' notice for a rematch and a fight that he closely lost back in January. And I really can't wait. I think this is going to be extremely exciting. I think, honestly, Volk is scarier on 11-day notice. And I know you might be thinking, why would Volk, how is someone scarier on 11 days notice or on less time? If you really break it down, especially with someone like Volk, when you're not training for someone like Volk, it's hard to fight him. Volk could pick up and fight on 11 days notice. I believe that wholeheartedly, that Alexander Volkanovski can get up and fight on 11 days notice. It's what makes this difficult is it makes it difficult for Islam, because Islam now has to pick up and figure out what Volk is going to do. Even though, yes, I know they already fought once, but he has to figure out what Volk is going to do within 11 days. And Volk is in a situation where now he's got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? On 11 days notice, you got nothing to lose. It's not like if Volk loses this fight, we're gonna be like, oh, he's not the best. He's not the best anymore. He's not. No. Even if he loses this fight, he still has the argument for the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Yes, he technically lost the Islam fight twice if he loses this fight. But on 11 days notice, you have nothing to lose. And on 11 days notice, you're fighting someone you have a vendetta against. You're fighting against someone who gave you your only UFC loss after one of the greatest fighting runs in MMA history. You try to go to lightweight, you can't do it. He is still undefeated in the UFC in featherweight, but he lost lightweight, and now he wants that rematch. He wants to be double champ. Clearly, he wants it, and this one is going to be a good fight. I think for a lot of you people who aren't like huge UFC fans, this one could get boring. It could definitely be a wrestling match. Both of them, Islam coming out of Dagestan, and then Volk being Volk. Volk's going to play Volk can adjust to however it plays. I feel like Islam's going to try to take it to the ground, try to do that. So I think it's definitely going to be a very interesting fight, a very good fight. I don't know exactly what the odds are right now. I believe Volkanovski's the underdog, and he should be. But I definitely like Volkanovski a lot in this fight. I think it's going to get really fun. And then, after that, Dana White and the crew said, hold my beer. And they said, we're not done. We need to fill this co-main event. And who's someone who hasn't fought in a little while? Kamaru Usman. Sorry, folks. I just got a word that the radio side cannot hear me, which is weird. I don't know why. Maybe they can now? I don't know. Hopefully you guys can hear me on the radio. But as I was saying, Dana White and the crew says, hold my beer. We got to still fill our co-main event. And how do they fill that co-main event? Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, fighting his first opponent that is not Leon Rocky Edwards. Last time we saw him, he lost by decision to Leon Edwards, as I just said. But it's, yeah. Last time we did see him, if you really break it down, it was a rough outing for Usman. It really was. He just couldn't seem to get anything going against Leon Edwards in the third fight, technically, but the second championship fight. He couldn't really get anything going there. It was more of like Leon was very good at stopping his takedown attempts. He was very good at countering a lot of Kamaru strikes and combo attempts. And I feel like Kamaru in that fight didn't fight like he had to earn the belt as much, and I think he was still patient fighting a Kamaru game, and you can't really do that as the challenger. So I am going to find this fight against Khamzat Chimaev very interesting because you have two people now who stylistically are extreme opposites. Extreme opposites stylistically is what you have here out of them two. You have Khamzat Chimaev, who is 12-0 right now. He has 8 first-round finishes. He is an active fighter. I looked up the stats earlier today just because I was just looking at the records earlier today, and I was actually shocked to see that Khamzat is top 10 among active fighters in striking differential and strikes per minute. This man is landing 7 strikes on average per minute in his fights. And then his striking difference, he's averaging at least 3.5 more strikes per fight than his opponents. This man is active when he gets in the octagon. So it's going to be weird to see how Kamaru handles that, or he handles Kamaru on that same 11-day notice that Kamaru Usman is on. Like, I don't feel the same about Kamaru on 11-day notice that I do for Volk. I think Volk is dangerous on 11-day notice. I don't know if Kamaru is necessarily that dangerous. I think it's scarier, especially with a fighter like Khamzat Chimaev, who is just a versatile fighter. I mean, he doesn't love to wrestle, but he can. You know what I mean? He fights out of a camp in Sweden. I think he might be fighting out of UAE this weekend, though, but he fought out of Sweden his last fight, and like, Khamzat is a tank, man, and he is going to be running. He's been running that division. He wants the Leon fight. He wants the number 1 contender spot. He feels he deserves it. So, by all means, give it to him, right? I mean, if he could beat Kamaru, it's a big win. Again, it's weird when you get fights like this because you always have the excuse at the end of the day where people are going to be like, well, Kamaru was on 11 days' notice. So actually, Kamaru with a full camp is nasty, bro. Kamaru with a full camp is going to beat him. That happens, yes, I know. And you're going to get that. People are going to say that. But I think you're in a good spot here. I think Chimaev has a good chance. Kamaru, I think, is like a plus 260 underdog. He's a big underdog. I remember seeing those lines. So it'll be interesting to see that one. That one will be a brawl. Before that one, the fight before that one is Magmadov Ankalev fighting Johnny Walker. That one should be exciting. Honestly, that one should be a brawl. Johnny Walker's a flashy fighter. I don't like the dude. I hope Ankalev knocks him out. I think he will. I think Ankalev is going to rock him. Last time Ankalev fought was he fought Jan for the vacant belt after Yuri left. And it ended in a majority draw, but still, like, he's a brawler. To put Johnny Walker up against him is trying to put Johnny Walker up because he's on a little bit of he's on a 3-fight win streak against some big people. He had a first-round KO against Paul Craig like a year ago, I think, a couple months ago. He beat Anthony Smith in decision, so like he's had some good wins in the light heavyweight division, definitely. But I think Ankalev is a different monster that Johnny Walker is not ready for. And 10 knockout wins for Ankalev. Only 1 professional loss. And his only other professional fight that wasn't a win was that draw against Jan Blachowicz, of all people. So I think he's going to be chilling. All right, I guess I'll just play the music again then for the radio. I guess no radio today, which is rough. But yeah, which is rough. I mean, I think people could hear me. I think it's just my dad. But yeah, that one's going to be an interesting fight. I think that one's going to be an interesting fight. We got a lot also with it being in Abu Dhabi. We got a lot of people that are on the card that are, I don't know the word. They're a lot of people on the card that are from Dagestan. They're from the UAE. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a boring night for people who don't like UFC, but I think it is going to be an extremely, extremely, extremely fun night to watch. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. I love watching Volkanovski fight, like I said. Later, you have this dude, Ikram Alaskarov, I think is how you pronounce it. He's fighting his third fight in the UFC. His first one was he won the Contender Series, and then he won his first actual UFC fight by decision, if I remember. But this dude is pretty good on the ground. He's one of those Dagestanis that's just gonna dominate you and beat you with old school UFC techniques. They like to get down and dirty. They like to just drag you to the floor and just beat on you until you're mentally dead. Until you're just mentally dead. And that's what you get out of him. Also, we got Said Nurmagomedov, who is not related to Habib, sadly, but we have him. He is fighting Muin Gafarov. That should be a good fight. That, again, is two people who are very different stylistically, where you have Gafarov, who loves to just brawl. He's a brawler. And then you have Nurmagomedov, who, like I said, isn't related to Habib, but is from the same part of Russia, is also a Dagestani, who's going to want to pull you to the ground and just beat the living hell out of you. So it should be fun to watch. It should be a card that everyone is definitely interested to see. I know I'm excited to see it. But yeah, it's going to be very, very fun to watch. It really is. It's going to be a very interesting night, a very fun night to watch between Volk, Usman getting back, and both of them getting back in the octagon. I mean, Volk fought what, 4 months ago? Like, it's crazy that he's already getting back in the octagon. Volk had 3 fights this year. To have a champion that active, guys, like, I just want to go on this little rant. Like, for those of you who are just getting into UFC and don't really know it, really appreciate the champion we have in Alexander Volkanovski. Not only is his skill set so elite and so next level, where he could wrestle. We saw it in the Brian Ortega fight with the headlock. He could do all these different things. He's an elite striker. He puts all this time into training, but not only does he do that, he's not scared to fight. In this day and age, we get a lot of those fighters who they're scared to fight. You know, you get even fighters I like. You get Izzy. Usman's one of those fighters, even though he fought Leon this year. You get all these fighters where it's like, once they you get champions. We haven't seen, John Jones just likes to disappear for years at a time. I know it's for different related issues, but it happened. People disappear. Yuri wins the belt and walks away. Like, that's what you get in fighting nowadays. We've never gotten that out of Volk. Volk loves what he's doing and just appreciate what we have. This man is an active champion. He loves to fight. He's consistently fighting. To have a champion fight 3 times in a year, to me, is unheard of. So thank you, Alexander Volkanovski, for loving the fighting game as much as us fans do, and consistently putting on a performance for us, and consistently wanting to go out there, putting your body on the line, being a real life gladiator. Like, appreciate what we have with him. Man. UFC is going to be fun, man. We got John Jones later. That's in November. That's the next big event, is John Jones, Stipe. We got Leon in December. So that'll be fun. We got a lot going for us. We definitely got a lot going for us. We got a lot. So, yeah. Now on to the NFL, the National Football League. What can I say, man? What can I say? I want to talk about New York sports just because New York sports are on my mind. I live out here in New York, New Jersey. New York sports tend to be on my mind a bunch. When really you break it down, like I said earlier when I opened the show, you have these 2 New York sports, in such different spots right now. And I'm going to start with the Jets. The Jets have done something that no other team has been able to do, and it is shocking. And that is have one of the most heartbreaking things happen to you, which was your starting quarterback go down in week 1, who you thought was the savior. But you have persevered week after week, showed adversity week after week to get wins. And now you're sitting at 3-3, and it's amazing for you guys. And what this defense has been able to do to good QBs is ridiculous. I saw this graphic on the McAfee show that I have a picture of up right now on my computer or on my phone. The stat lines. I'm just going to say I'm going to start here. We're going to start with QBRs. Allen in week 1 had a 62.7 QBR. Mahomes had a 63.6 in week 4, which was his career low. Excuse me. And then Hurts had a 60.1 last week against the Jets. The only team that was able to come out with a win was those Chiefs. They had both, or not both. They had all 3 quarterbacks throw 2+ interceptions. Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts threw 3. Held all 3 of them to under 300 yards. What this defense has been able to do to good quarterbacks is absolutely ridiculous. Get that win over the Bills in week 1. Get that win over the Eagles right now. And realistically, they're starting to look like a frisk playoff team. The way that the D-line's been able to get pressure, the secondary is playing great coverage. But what's weird is statistically, I looked at it the other day, on paper you wouldn't see it. That's what throws me off too, is on paper, and that's why people got to stop. That's why you got to stop listening to the stats sometimes, guys. Like, that's why the stats don't always tell the story. Because you look at something like this situation with the New York Jets, and statistically, they're middle of the pack defensively. I think they're 15th or 16th in yards. They're like 17th in points. Their pass defense is like 11th or 12th. Like, they're good, but they're not great statistically. But what they've been able to do is game plan and put together these game plans and stop these great quarterbacks. And it's worked out so well for them. You have Quentin Williams was able to get an interception. Like, you have D linemen just making plays. Your linebackers are out there making plays. Like, it's almost leaving me speechless right now, even kind of just thinking about it. Because how good that this Jets defense is, for them to be able to squeeze in the playoffs would be something amazing. It really would. It would really be something amazing to be able to see the New York Jets squeeze into the playoffs this year. And like I said, if you guys are fans of the McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers, he's already ahead of schedule. And he's going to continue to be ahead of schedule. So it's unheard of. The fastest hamstring recovery, who said it? It was Schefter said this. It was on McAfee they were talking about it. Was Cam Akers, a running back, and I think he said it was in 6 months it took him to get back. He came back for the Super Bowl, I think it was. With Aaron Rodgers' injury at the beginning of September, you got October, November, December, January. You start putting it around early January, late February. Can Aaron Rodgers come back? At 5 months, you're at mic check 1, 2. Sorry, guys. A lot of technical difficulties today. Not the greatest show. But really, you break it down, yeah, like it's a very, very difficult situation, or not difficult. It's a very, very cool situation the Jets are in. Because even a not 100% Aaron Rodgers, if you think about it, does that get the Jets squeeze into the playoffs? Let's say they're what? Check 1 2. Sorry, folks, the other mic died. But as I was saying, like you get you get that whole situation where it's like you have now, um, we're now, yeah, like you're the 6th seed if you're the Jets. All right, let's break this out. If you're the Jets, you end up, let's say they squeeze into the playoffs. So, like with this defense, it's viable. So let's say you squeeze into the defense, or let's say the Jets squeeze into the playoffs, right? So let's say they end up, I won't call them a 7. Let's say they get the 6th seed, right? You get the 6th seed as the Jets, and you end up playing probably. Let me look at the standings real quick. Let me break this down. All right, as the Jets, you get the 6th seed. You're probably playing right now. I think it's Miami or Buffalo. Actually, no. It's Jacksonville. That's who you're playing. You're playing Jacksonville as the 6th seed right now. So the Jets even if he's not fully healthy, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, Jacksonville, is that a winnable game? That's the question. That is the question you have for the Jets right now. I think it's a weird situation the Jets are in. I think it's exciting if you're a Jets fan. Like I said, you have a chance to make the playoffs, which is extremely, extremely interesting, extremely exciting, and extremely fun. But I don't know what else could happen, really, besides that. You don't get another. I think the minute you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, if that happens for the Jets, you throw out that possibility of Aaron coming back because I don't think he wants to. You don't want him to. I don't think he wants to, nor do you want him to come back for a team that's not making the playoffs this year. I'd rather give him more time, let him rest, get to the playoffs. But yeah, the Jets are in a really fun spot. They're in a really, really fun spot. They seem to be having a lot of fun playing football. Well, you know who's not having a lot of fun playing football? You know who's really not? The New York Giants. The New York Giants are not having fun. A really, really tough loss on Sunday night against Buffalo for the Giants. Surprisingly enough, they had a chance to win the game. The Bills seem to be flopping in primetime this year, and the Giants' defense played well. I think that was 110% of pass interference on Waller. I think that was an atrocious missed call. And as a Saints fan, trust me, I know a thing or two about missed calls. That was up there, one of the worst ones I've ever personally seen. So you end up with a situation here as the New York Giants where now you take another rough loss. You drop to 1-4. It seems your season's over. Your offense is the lowest scoring offense in the league. And it's just not working. And as much as I want to blame Daniel Jones, you know what I mean? Tyrod Taylor hopped in, seemed to have played pretty well against Buffalo. I looked at the comparison of the Giants with or without Saquon, and I said this, I think, a couple weeks ago. The Giants' offense is night and day without that man on the field, and it is absolutely insane. And I feel bad that he didn't get paid because I know he can't stay healthy, and I know the O-line is rough. And he didn't play great against Buffalo, who's a very, very good defense. But at the end of the day, the way that offense is able to produce with him on the field, they average one more touchdown a game with him, or it's a touchdown and a half more per game. They average with Saquon on the field. They average almost 100 more yards per game with Saquon on the field. I think it's 60. I think it's 60 more yards per game with Saquon on the field. Their offense just seems to not have another fold to it without Saquon there. Once Saquon gets injured and it's Matt Breida or whoever it is you have in, that offense just isn't the same. Nobody's loading the box anymore, and Daniel Jones starts turning the ball over. And it just doesn't work for them. They have an interesting schedule coming up where they play who do they play this week? They play Washington. They play Washington this week, which I think they lose to Washington. I think Washington's better than them. So I think it's a tough game. I think Washington's a tough game for them. And then they play the Jets after that, which will be extremely, extremely interesting and fun to watch. Like, that will definitely be a fun one to watch just because, like I said, like, you end up in a really weird situation as the Giants. Like, your season's I hate to say this. I know it's week 6, and they're sitting there at 1-4, 1-5, whatever they are. But we're going into week 7. But your season's over at this point. Like, you can't make the playoffs. Your offense is the worst offense that statistically, it is the worst offense in football. I think they're ranked last in almost everything, if I remember correctly. There's just no fold to it. Like, Dable's not doing what he was able to do last year with more weapons, it seems like. So it's weird. It's really weird for the Giants. And I think right now they're sitting there and they're regretting paying. I think they're regretting paying Daniel Jones. I think they're regretting not paying Saquon, and here they are. Here they are. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Another team that's also doing really bad offensively, and I hate to say that, I want to support them with my whole heart as much as possible. The New Orleans Saints this year, man, are just. Okay. I had to get that breath out first. Because I want to start this sentence here. I don't like calling for people's jobs. But can somebody please tell me what Pete Carmichael is doing? It's a disrespect to the Saints defense, that the offensive performance this year. The Saints offense is ranked low in so many stats statistically, and it makes no sense when we have a better quarterback than we have last year, how we're ranking lower in every single stat. We have Michael Thomas back, who was injured for the past 2 years, who's also not having a bad year. We have Chris Olave, who's an absolute certified dog, making plays. We got Rashid Shaheed, however you pronounce his name. He's a speed demon making plays left, right, punt returns, this, that. He's a dog. We got Foster Moreau at tight end. We got Kamara back from suspension. We got Kendre Miller's a dog. What is not working with the Saints offense? Why can we not call plays that are working? I don't get it at all. They're ranked 23rd in points, 17th in yards, 26th in yards per play. They're averaging less than 5 yards per play with those weapons, with a defense that is dominating the league. You have a top 10 defense statistically in every single category across the board. And you're sitting here, and what's disappointing is we're losing because our offense can't put up like 9 points to like 14 points. You know what I mean? There's no chance we should have lost to Houston last week in the which situation we did. We had the ball twice with 2 minutes left and a chance to win the game. There is no reason why the New Orleans Saints should not have won that football game. And I don't want to blame Derek Carr. I really don't. It is very obviously the play calling. And Dennis Allen, I know you're a defensive genius. I know you're a defensive guru. I do not expect you, Dennis Allen, to be producing those play calls. But the man you have hired and you have in the position to make those calls is not doing it well. And I know Pete Carmichael has been there since Sean Payton. I know Pete Carmichael has been there for 11 years and was there with the Drew days. But Sean was calling the plays. And this man, Pete Carmichael, I am sorry, doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. This is a Saints team that easily should be in first in this division right now. We should not be behind not only Tampa Bay and Atlanta were behind. We should not be sitting at 2-3. Going into a Thursday night football game against Jacksonville with an injured Trevor Lawrence that I don't know if we can win. This is a team that we should be able to beat. Is the Trevor Lawrence Jacksonville or the Trevor Lawrence-led Jacksonville Jaguars is a team that is on our caliber, is a team that we should be able to beat. And if I watch the offense do the same thing that they have been doing tomorrow night, I am going to be disgusted. I can't take it anymore with this team. over and over, week in and week out. It's offensive disappointment. They're losing winnable games, man. They are losing winnable games. And now we have Jamal Williams coming back from injury, which is only another weapon to put on this team to keep going. Like, the New Orleans Saints offensively are doing terrible. And I can't take it, man. Change something, please. Please. Change something. Please. Moving on from that, man. Moving on from the Saints. Yeah, I mean, it's been rough this year. We're in a weird spot in the NFL now. Week 6 with another week. It seems the injury bug has caught the NFL. It seems we're hitting that point of the year. So it's really rough. We got a lot of major injuries. CMC got injured this week. That's huge. Justin Jefferson's out with his hamstring. You got Achane out down in Miami. You got Fields just injured his thumb. You had Lane Johnson just injured his ankle. Trevor Lawrence's knee that I kept talking about. Jimmy G hurt his back. Monty over in Detroit hurt his rib. No Debo also for San Francisco, which was crazy. That San Francisco, man. Thinking of that game, that was rough. I don't want to. Don't discredit the Browns, though, guys. Really, don't. Statistically, the Browns' defense is up there with the greats. This Browns defense, man, this year is unreal. Shout out to I know who it is. Jim Codwell, I think, is calling the plays down there for the up there in Cleveland for the defense this year. And shout out to him, or it might be Todd Bowles. I don't remember who it is. But whichever one of those two it is up there in Cleveland, shout out to them. Because this Cleveland defense, to see what they were able to do I know they did. I know CMC got injured at one point, but he was still in the game. And I know, like I said, I just said Debo got injured, but that Cleveland defense is something else. And they were able to do one thing that no other team this year has been able to do, and that is stop the 49ers offense. So shout out to Cleveland, man. That game was a fun one to watch. That one was interesting. That one was crazy. But yeah, the NFL is a long one this year. Oh, also another news talking about injuries. Anthony Richardson, who was having a decent year. I mean, couldn't stay on the field clearly. Gets that season-ending decides opts in for the season-ending surgery, which I think in the long run was the right choice for Anthony. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think it was definitely the right choice to get the surgery. I think you end up in a situation with Anthony Richardson where obviously he was tearing it up. He looks like he's going to be a stud. So if that's the case, why risk making this injury more significant than it already is? Get the surgery, Anthony. Hopefully a speedy recovery to you. Colts now sitting there with Minshew. I don't know. The team got a lot worse with Minshew. You saw it last week. He made a lot of mistakes. Duval County ripped him up. Duval ripped up Duval because he was Duval. But yeah, that was a rough one there for Gardner last week. But hopefully a speedy recovery there to Anthony Richardson. Hopefully he could get well soon. Hopefully he could get back on the field and honestly live up to the potential that we've been wanting to see for so long. So now it is time for the end of the show. The one, the only log rundown, where I open up FanDuel on my phone. I look at the live odds at 140 on a Wednesday, and we say who we are picking in said game. And it starts with tomorrow night, Thursday night football, as the Jacksonville Jaguars travel into New Orleans, into the Caesars Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints are favored right now by 1.5 points, which I do like. Over unders at 39. I think this is going to be a close game. Like I said, I went on that whole rant. You guys saw the rant about how I feel about the Saints and their offensive productivity. You look here, you ended up with a weird situation. I hopefully think at home the Saints end up with a win. So I am picking the Saints here on Thursday night to walk away with the win at home. Then we go on to Sunday. The Las Vegas Raiders, without Jimmy Garoppolo, possibly without Jimmy Garoppolo, will travel into Chicago to play the Chicago Bears, who possibly don't have Justin Fields. Man, does that game sound exciting. It does not. It does not. The over-under is very high for some reason at a 37, or very low. I mean, I forgot that was combined for a second. So, yeah, over-under is pretty low. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. You got the Raiders favored by 3 going into Chicago. I'm going to take the Raiders. That more likely than not. I would say the Raiders more likely win this game. I just think they have a better defense. I think they have a better roster, even with a backup quarterback, than Chicago with a backup quarterback. So, give me Las Vegas to go into Chicago and get a win. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, now a big division game. We got the Buffalo Bills going into New England. Woo! To play the New England Patriots. Buffalo coming off that not so pretty win in New York against the at home against the Giants on Sunday night. Now travel up to New England to play the New England Patriots. Of what offense and what team has looked absolutely befuddlingly terrible, which I never thought in my life would be a sentence I was saying about the New England Patriots, but here we are saying that. I know a lot of people up there in New England calling for his job. Buffalo favored by 8.5 here. I'm going to take the Bills to both win and cover that. New England's defense, New England just in general this year hasn't really been it. It's been really rough for them. So, yeah, give me Buffalo. Give me the Buffalo Bills to travel up to Gillette. Look at that pretty new Jumbotron many of times with many of their scores up on it. Give me Buffalo to win this game. Atlanta traveling into Tampa Bay. Tampa is favored by 2.5 right now. I'm going to take, especially with how close the Saints played this Tampa team, I'm going to take the Falcons in this because just Desmond Ridder, I know, hasn't been playing great recently, and I think these two teams are on very equal level. But you look at a situation, you got Bijan Robinson, you got a lot of studs down there. I think Atlanta's on a little bit of a roll. I think they had to lose last week after winning back-to-back games. It's hard to win 3 straight in the NFL. I think they have a very good chance of coming back, bouncing back, looking at each other in the eyes, saying, let's get a big division win here. This is a fight for first in the division, this game. First in the NFC South. I'm going to take Atlanta plus 2.5. For this one to travel into Tampa Bay. Washington at the Giants. Washington favored by 2 points. I'm going to take the Giants to win, surprisingly enough. I am. I think the Giants have been very bad recently, but I think they played a little bit better on Sunday against a very good defense, and I think if they could play even half as good as they played against Buffalo, that you could beat Washington at home. I do. I know Giants fans have lost a lot of hope, but Sam Howell hasn't been playing necessarily great. Tyrod Taylor didn't look too bad last week, except for that halftime blunder we won't talk about. But I'm going to take the Giants plus 2 at home here, definitely. Cleveland going into Indy. Cleveland coming off a big win in San Francisco. I do not see them losing to Gardner Minshew. Yeah. I don't think I think Gardner Minshew might see ghosts this weekend against Cleveland, even though it is a home game. This defense is very good. Myles Garrett's been having a ridiculous year. Their Browns secondary with Jamie Ward back there has been playing extremely, extremely well. So give me Cleveland, even with a backup quarterback. You have to remember that. They beat San Francisco with a backup quarterback last week. I didn't even mention that when talking about the game. Deshaun Watson didn't play. Like, they signed P.J. Walker from their practice squad, the dude from Carolina last year. That's an interesting situation, really. But yeah, give me Cleveland. Give me Cleveland 100%. Favored in that game, -2.5. Give me Cleveland. Detroit, Baltimore. Give me Baltimore -3. Not much I have to say about that. Actually, let me actually explain myself there. Two things there. One, Detroit being favored in Baltimore, I think, is a big thing. I know Detroit's on a roll right now. They're easily one of the top 5 teams in the league right now. They just lost their best running back, though, and I don't know if he's going to be able to play this week. Baltimore is very good and very good at home specifically. So I think this is going to be a very good game, but I'm going to take Baltimore -3 here. I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm going to take Baltimore. I know they're favored, but yeah. Something about Lions +3 in Baltimore with the way the Lions have been playing. It makes me feel like they want you to pick Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So that makes me pick Baltimore. Arizona traveling into Seattle. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I'm taking Seattle to win, but I am going to take Arizona to cover. Arizona's done very good against the spread this year. In case you guys didn't know that, they have done very, very well against the spread this year, and I expect that to stay up, especially in a division game. I think it'll go back and forth, be close. But give me Seattle to win, Arizona to cover, +7.5. Yeah. Pittsburgh at LA. Give me LA. LA's favored by 3 points. I'm taking a lot of favorites this week, but LA is favored by 3 points. I think their offense is just a lot more potent than Pittsburgh's. Pittsburgh has that problem of Matt Canada, similar to the Saints, where they have a problem with play calling. Both teams have that little issue of play calling. So yeah, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. I'm gonna take LA to win that one. Denver, Green Bay going into Denver. Green Bay coming off a bye week, I believe. Yeah, Green Bay coming off a bye week, freshly rested. Jordan Love has been playing well this year. They're only favored by a point, which makes no sense to me in Denver. Give me Green Bay, 100%. Give me Green Bay. LA at KC. I'm sorry, Chargers fans. Give me KC. Give me LA to cover. I think it's going to be close because, one, the Chiefs are bad against the spread. Two, the Chargers have played every team close this year. But the Chiefs are probably going to win this game because the Chiefs are very, very good in close games. The Chargers have been very, very bad this year in close games. They're 0-7 or they're 0-4 this year. I think they're 0-7 in their last 8 one-score games. So it's going to be an entertaining one. It'll be fun to watch, especially if Herbert plays. Obviously, Mahomes, that offense, obviously. That one will be extremely, extremely, extremely entertaining, extremely fun to watch. Yeah, give me LA to cover, but give me KC to win. Sunday night, we got a battle. We have an offensive brawl on Sunday night. Miami coming into the city of brotherly love to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that one will be a good one. The over-under is 51.5. I will bet the under on that. But when we're talking about the spread, we have Philly favored by 2 points right now. And I think that's going to be close. I think Philly's coming off a tough loss to the Jets at home. This one's going to be a fun one. This one, I think, comes down to the quarterback battle, and I like Jalen Hurts more than I like Tua, so give me Jalen Hurts in this one. And just because it's football, I want to say they'll cover because it's hard for 2 to happen. It's even hard for 1 to happen sometimes. It's usually I don't know. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't even touch the money line if I were you guys on this game. I would bet whoever you think is going to win, or spread, I mean. I would just bet money line on this game. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to say take the Eagles. Monday night, we got San Francisco missing a lot of people, maybe traveling into Minnesota, who's been having a rough year. Justin Jefferson-less Minnesota. San Francisco is favored by 7. I do not know if they win by 7 without Debo and Christian McCaffrey, but I do think they win. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. It's a fun weekend we got. It's a fun weekend. UFC 294, first major UFC event in a while, in like a month. A lot of fun football games. That Sunday night game should be really fun. Hopefully the Saints offense isn't boring tomorrow night. And we got a really fun little section coming up. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I don't think the radio worked, so I'm not going to be doing my normal radio sign-off. Thank you, everybody, tuning in to the live stream. Everybody tuning in after I post this as a YouTube video. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, X. It's X, not Twitter, sorry. TikTok, whatever. I will see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place. This is Logan the Log Show signing off. Peace out and have a happy hump day.